Welcome to Seymour from the Front Pew podcast, coming to you from the broadcast studio at Seymour First Baptist Church in Seymour, Tennessee, and featuring thoughts and discussions around loving God, loving others, making disciples, and living the life. I am your host, Tiger Brooks, and now on to the podcast. All right. We welcome you in once again to Seymour from the Front Pew podcast, where today we have one of our special guests who has been here before. Hey, listen. He's sitting in Austin's normal chair. Austin's away on assignment. But Korey Ayers, our missions minister, is back.
How's it going?
Good, man. Great to have you back in, man.
Good to be here.
And so Korey is here kind of specifically for to talk about our topic today. And so to lead into this, the topic is going to be the ministry fair that's about to happen less than 2 weeks away. And that's a new event. And so to kind of set that up, we want to kind of frame this with an understanding of this is kind of continuing an extension of the culture that we are trying to create at Seymour First Baptist Church, which is a culture of serving. So we love God, love others, make disciples.
Yep, that's it.
As part of that disciple-making process, which, by the way, Sean did a great job, yesterday talking about specifically making disciples and what that looks like. And part of the thing that he unpacked about that is a disciple goes beyond just coming to faith in Jesus Christ, beyond belief. Mm-hmm. It is understanding the Word of God and what the commands and commission that is associated with that we are to continue to duplicate ourselves by making disciples. And part of the discipleship process is capitalizing on the gifts and talents that God has given us and putting them to use within the body of Christ. And so we emphasize that. Korey is on his series. We've been in the midst of the Next Step series, which pushes people to, further their walk with the Lord. And so part of the whole thing that we do, and even in the new member merge, that, we try to lay out the understanding that church membership is beyond just filling a pew on Sunday, that, we need to leverage the talents and abilities God has given us. And if you don't know what those are, we can help you figure that out, and where you can find a place to serve in the church. And so the ministry fair is a brand new event that we are unpacking for the very first time this year. And we're going to kind of let you know what that's going to look like.
And even this, doing this is kind of an outflow of different questions that we've had from visitors or even new members. And I can remember vividly one Wednesday night sitting at a table for merge meal and a new member. They had really only been at the church a couple months, which is unusual. I mean, because honestly, most of our new members now, it feels like they've been at the church for a year or two before they joined. But they had joined pretty quickly, and it was an older gentleman. He was asking. He's like, "Well, where can I get involved?" He's like, "I used to serve at this in my former church. Where can I get involved?" And part of that for me was a realization of, maybe we don't help people see where they can get plugged in or how they can get plugged in very easily. And we do need to be better at that, because we value you being involved. We want to value you being a part of things. And I don't want you to feel like you have to wait for someone to come ask you to be involved in something. Mm-hmm. We want you to pursue being involved in things. And really, I think that that's a better biblical picture of what service should be like, is that we know our gifting. As individuals, we should know our gifting and understand this area fits me. Sometimes as leaders, it's really hard if we're trying to figure out who to approach, because we're not sure. I mean, we can look from the outside and we can see what we believe to be there, but sometimes that leads to us us to asking the wrong person to do something because we don't really know as well what you're gifted in or what you would like to serve in. And so putting all that together leads to this.
And I think, when you figure in the core values to this discussion as well, sincere relationships is one of our core values. And I think part of the way that this works out within the body of Christ is that when we all get to know each other and we spend time with one another and the body, people, individuals kind of make themselves available just for general use. It's the 4th of July event. It's the what are the things with the
pumpkin
trunk
patch.
or treat, or pumpkin
Family
patch,
festival,
or family, all of those things. And then we get an opportunity to view and see, hey, so-and-so did a bang up job at this. Maybe and that's part of the sincere relationships is when we get to know one another and we spend time with one another, we can begin to identify, hey, this would be a great vein that they can serve within the body.
And there's all kinds. I mean, again, we'll get into this even more, but there's all kinds of places from serving at an event, to serving in a ministry, to serving every Sunday or every Wednesday. And there's all kinds of. I don't want to say levels because I don't want to make one of those higher than the other, but there are all kinds of places and all kinds of commitments in that. That are needed inside the life of our church, and so those are things that we want to highlight with all of this. Things that we want to be better at, as far as like helping people to see and realize. And this is I've always said, I think in the last 6 years we've been willing to try a lot of things that we've never done before, where some of them stick and some of them don't. And so that's what I'm hoping that this is a trying to see. Does this fit? Does it not? I think it's a great way to highlight a bunch of different areas and help people to be able to see, but if we do this and 10 people go downstairs, then it's probably not going to show up again. I mean, I'm very hopeful and prayerful that that's not the type of response we get from it. But that's kind of what we're thinking about.
And Korey, I'm obviously going to bring you into this, but before we jump into that, I'm going to kind of pick on the fact that you've just been here 7 months. Just from on the outside looking in, just as you and your family getting to know who we are, just as the conversation started, and then you come, and what has been your observations, just completely subjectively, as you've approached this, how hard was it to figure out where can a person serve within this body? Has it been? Have we made it really difficult? Obviously we've identified we got to do better, but what's been the cultural experience from just that standpoint of coming in as a new person?
I think it is hard kind of to see all the different ways because there are so many things going on. And when you come in, you meet certain people, and then those are your people you stick with for a while,
right?
Especially if you have a good relationship, which is a good thing. Yeah. But if they're serving in one area and you may not be gifted in that area, you don't really.
Yeah, you hit a dead end.
It's hard to see other places where you could go or other people you could go to.
Yeah, and I think that's valid. I think a lot of people would probably agree with what you're saying. Is that you meet certain people, whether it's the Sunday school class that you started in, maybe, or just the people that you sit around on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night if you come to Merge Meal or something like that. You always kind of get herded certain directions. And if you happen to come up against something where it's like, I'm not real comfortable doing that thing, then it's like, I don't know what else to do because I hadn't met these other people yet. Yeah. And so part of this is to eliminate that, right? So let's kind of walk through some of the things. It's a pretty hefty list of things.
Yeah, we have 23 different areas that we're going to highlight here at the ministry fair. So some, like Korey was saying, some that you can do every single week, some that are here and there, some bigger events.
Seasonal things, yeah.
And I'm going to have a table for missions, like. We don't obviously go on mission trips every week. We have a few throughout the year. And MVP, we have 2 MVP seasons. But there are things like you can get involved in choir, you can get involved with music ministry, AV ministry. There's just a multitude of ways to get involved in that, and you can at the ministry fair you'll be able to go around to each and every table and see what are the ways to get involved. So yeah,
I think keep walking down through that. I mean, like, so we've got we keep going discipleship.
Yes.
Tiger will be over discipleship, and even that discipleship is not necessarily a place to serve as much as it is a place to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I think the big area of discipleship for us is D groups, and I would also include kind of our Sunday schools and our Wednesday night classes.
We're going to combine that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a discipleship table that includes Sunday school and D groups.
Yeah, and so, but again, those are not necessarily service areas, but they are areas where if you don't know where to get started, or you're wondering about what's my next step with this area is.
In many respects, you could think of it as that's the training
that's
involved in honing your service.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I've done a couple D groups since I've been here. But I've been in this season where I kind of took a break because of some things going on. And so I'm in the mode now of thinking through who I'm about to start approaching for a new group for me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping to start that late summer, but I know, like, you don't typically want to start a D group during the summer. It's just really, really, really hard.
Yeah,
but
it's not real good.
But like, that's just been part of where I'm at. But if you're wondering what that next step is for a D group or Sunday school, that is going to be there.
Come and ask those questions, and everyone at those tables will be able to answer your questions that you have. To go on from there, we have men's and women's ministry. Different things throughout the year to get involved in and help out in those ways. And then, Jason, I don't know if you want to talk about the children's ministry, preteen ministry, what type of ways people can get involved in volunteering and getting your kids involved as well.
Yeah, I mean, on all those, really, kids and our student tables, I mean, it's going to be looking at the different aspects that you can plug yourself in and get involved, and I would say help disciple the next generation. I mean, that's really what those two areas are really about in terms of services, and where you can plug in those regards. And we also have the rap ministry and the different things we'll have that'll be there for the tables.
Rap. Tell them what that is.
What it is.
That's our foster and adoption. Kind of the idea of wrap around them, and kind of walking through that a little bit of what that looks like to help. And those are areas that we want to continue to grow in, but there's places that you can get involved in very different ways.
Well, and even I'm going to highlight, just because I know, and Jason doesn't press people, I can a little bit more. Like, we have a need for second service Sunday school right now in our kids ministry, specifically in our younger, like almost preschool-ish. And what we're trying to do there is to get people to serve 1 month out of 3. So you serve 1 and you're off 2, but we've got a need for 3 to 6 volunteers that would help in those areas right now, so that we don't overtax everyone that's in that area. Mm-hmm. And so that's a need that's right now. You don't have to wait for the ministry fair. If you are interested in helping with that preschool area and you're able to help in that with second Sunday school, then come and see Jason and Erica. They would love to plug you in and help you to kind of see what that would look like and when that would start for you or whatever. So
press here a little bit to some degree that, what we've probably said this on here, and I think all of this goes to all of this, of the ministry fair and what that looks like. I think all of our hearts are that we should all see our service in the church and the life of the church as a blessing.
Right.
We should not see it as a task. And I think that's the hard part. And there are certain areas in the life of the church that I think sometimes people just see it as a task, and they don't recognize it as the ministry and the blessing that it really can be. And maybe because I've been in it for so long, but kids ministry and student ministry, man, the blessing that is there. And I'm not saying you can't get those blessings from all the other ministries. I think you can. I think all of those areas that we serve and that we pour our talents and our abilities into in the life of the church are going to bring those blessings. But for me, the one special area of kids ministry and student ministry is the longevity of the ministry that I'm doing, pouring into students and kids, and how that multiplies as it goes down the way, and having the opportunity to disciple. I'm not saying that you're going to get great kids every Sunday. No. You may have some challenging, but those challenging ones sometimes are the ones that bring the most blessing. And so, you know, that's always the kind of the difficult task of trying to help people see that, hey, this isn't just a task that we're just wanting to fill in. We could probably go out there and fill in all of our roles with bodies if we wanted to, but that's not our heart. Our heart is to put the people there that God wants in those positions, in those places. And again,
like I'm gonna highlight there a little bit because I know where that need is. I know I'm seeing that is in that preschool area, and it is. It's not always easy. I mean, it's cool. Caleb and Rachel, my oldest, they've been serving in there, and I think 2 or 3 weeks they had 12 2 and 3 year olds or 3 and 4 year olds. I don't remember which it is. And then 10 and my back.
At 16.
It's real easy to look at that and say, man, how difficult that is.
Yeah.
But man, there's a whole nother flip side to that. If you don't see the blessing of that, you don't see the responsibility of that, you don't see how God is honoring what's going on here. Don't you want to be a part of that to some extent? And I'm not saying everyone needs to be a part of that. That's not what I'm saying. But y'all, if God is calling those families here with those kids, then he has equipped the body to be able to handle these things. We just need everybody to evaluate, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I where I should be? Do I want to be a part of this blessing because my heart is geared toward preschoolers? And so that's the challenge, I think, with all of that. And that's what we would extend with that is, man, what an incredible blessing that in just one of our preschool classes, we've got, 12 2s and 3-year-olds. And man, what a great blessing. What a great responsibility.
Yeah.
Let's continue to see God honor that by us meeting those needs with volunteers.
I would even, this is not the tangent that we need to stick
That's
on.
All right.
I'm gonna add something to that. I sit here as a 56-year-old man who has been in ministry now for over 28 years. And I am in no small part, that is because of the direction that began to be set when I went to church as a kid very infrequently. My parents didn't go to church regularly, and so every once in a while, my aunt and uncle would take me to church as a kid. But I remember Lucy Starnes, an older lady. I remember the Kool-Aid and the cookies. I remember, this will tell you how old it was. I could sit in her lap. Okay. But that created in me a good feeling toward church.
Yep.
I couldn't tell you
that
a single lesson that she taught from the Bible.
Positive environment.
But it was the love that they showed me that made me feel comfortable in church. Even when my parents didn't go, it set the stage for me when I finally got to be able to drive myself. I still wanted to go to church.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of impact that you can have. I mean, to where somebody decades later can say your name because you loved them.
Yep.
That's the thing.
I can't remember a name, but I can vividly remember one of my nursery workers. Yeah. And what I remember is it was Tim Pickle's grandmother. Like he was my age. And so later I remember it because even as a student, she was still serving in that area.
Yeah.
She was still there every week or whatever else. And so I vividly remember that she was there. I just don't remember. I can't remember her name or whatever. And
but you remember face.
that's right. And I can even somewhat remember the room. You know, I mean, like it was that pale yellow that we've all remember as a kid or whatever else.
Institutional yellow,
right? But those are the area, like those are some of our greatest areas of need right now, and yet they are great areas of impact.
Yeah.
And we are wanting to draw that out with the ministry fair. But man, if we had all those needs filled before the ministry fair, we would love it. And here's what I would say:
we can still use you.
Well, beyond all of that is y'all. If we'll be faithful in that, the need is going to continue to grow.
Oh yeah.
And so, like, let's meet those needs as quickly as we can so that we can see these areas continue to grow and plug in more people and reach more families.
Yeah. I mean, all of this works together. I mean, we've expanded to 2 services and 2 Sunday schools to accommodate the growth. When the growth comes, it takes a larger, deeper bench of people to draw upon in order to make it all happen. And so again, that's kind of what this is all about.
Yeah.
Why don't you work your way a little bit further down that list?
I was just going to add real quick to that before, like to go along with that, if we're drawing from the same group of people to do multiple different sections of ministry, then that's like pulling them away, burning them out even faster to
correct,
and makes the ministries that they are actually gifted in not as functional.
They'll suffer.
And the goal is to make disciples, like we've been saying. And if you're burnt out in one area, it's harder to become be a closer follower of Christ.
Yeah.
So
that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
So there are other like I think it's like the front door of our church on Sunday mornings, the greeters and the
host
team.
Like people. Those are people.
Yeah.
People persons.
Yeah.
Even in the parking lot. I mean, it starts in the parking lot.
Yeah. Safety and security, which is does the golf carts and those types of things. I would even say, like, so you say they are people persons for, especially for the greeting and the host or whatever else. But the safety and security is a little bit different than that, but vitally important with all of that.
A little bit behind the scenes.
I would say those front door people merge meal. We think about our Wednesday night meal, and I was actually talking to a new family this past Wednesday night, and they were again, their first time with our church was on a Wednesday night, which is not always the case. But got a chance to talk to them about the meal, and this is a family with 2 young kids, and I just said, like, it's a $5 a piece, $20 maximum, and it's not some fine gourmet dining, but it's a meal that is fixed, prepared, and ready. You don't have to think about what is going on with that, and that's not necessarily it may be a people person if you're serving, but if you're helping to prepare the meal and
you have multiple avenues, based on what you're gifted at. So,
and that meal, like, again, a lot of people don't know this. It is 100% volunteers. Yeah. We have never employed someone to be a part of that meal. Everything is volunteers. All of its preparation, all of its service, all of the planning ahead of time.
Yep.
Everything with it is all volunteers. And could it be easier to pay some food service coordinator to get all that ready? Maybe, but
you're robbing a blessing from
this is how the church is supposed to work, is for us to plug in and to be a part of these things. And that's another area of service. They manage it without complaint. But there is a need for more people to be involved there inside of that. Yeah. Sorry, I'll let you keep going. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, that's good. Because I am new and I don't know all the intricacies of of everything that goes with everything. So that's good. Safety and security, and then also kind of in the same, like, more behind the scenes stuff, that things that get taken care of, the building and grounds committee, and prayer. Like, prayer is the lifeblood of every biblical church, and we have a prayer committee who meets regularly and prays for us as staff and pastors, and prays for the gospel going forward from our church.
So I'm going to pop in here. Prayer is a new one that's still kind of budding and trying to get their feet on the ground. But man, if you've got a heart for prayer, we would love for you to talk to Chris Schultz. He would love to. That's an area where I think they would love some development out of some new things, like maybe regular prayer, like interceding while our services are going on and some things like that. But until you get your feet on the ground and you know who all your volunteers are, it's hard to do that with a committee of 5 people. But when we get more prayer partners involved, more people that are really, their heart is geared toward that and all those other things, then we can start to develop that out. We can see who all wants to be a part of that and those things. And they're doing a good job. The 24-hour prayer event before Easter was great. And they've tried to do some different things with our events on that. Building and grounds, again, kind of background. Y'all, we have 30 acres and 8 soccer fields, a mile-long walking track, and we service all of that with 1 full-time guy and 2 part-time guys. And they do an amazing job. But there's more than they can do on their own. And
especially at different times, different projects.
Yeah, right now there's honestly a lot. There's a big need right now. We have replanted a lot of areas after the construction. And all that area has matting down that has to come up before we can begin mowing it. And like right now, literally, if you want to come spend 2 hours at the church, we can point you to an area where there's this green mesh matting that needs to come out so that we can get back to mowing areas. But it's an almost impossible task for just our building and grounds guys to do or whatever else. And so it's those types of things and meeting other needs inside the life of the church that you can plug into with those. So prayer, building grounds, sorry.
Yeah. And like hospitality is another thing that if it doesn't get taken care of, people notice, but you don't notice if it is taken care of. So that always needs help. So
hospitality kind of sits, that's other things beyond the merge meal.
Correct.
And it includes some of the same folks are involved there, but like special events, the Easter,
sunrise service, Thanksgiving
breakfast
meal,
and things like that, Thanksgiving meal. There's seasonal things that come up every once in a while. That's one of those areas where, it needs a lot more attention, especially if you've got just a little bit of time sporadically through the year. That might be an area that you could plug into.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking down your list. Senior adults and grief share, and those are areas. Again, Bob does a great job with both of those areas, but they're an area where he could use some volunteers and some help. And specifically with grief share, Bob does an incredible job with grief share, but he needs people to come alongside that ministry. He needs someone to be thinking about when he's unable to teach and to lead, someone that's able to do that, whether it's a fill-in week or weeks or whatever else that may be. Grief share is something that I think our church probably doesn't see a lot. Yeah. It meets on Tuesday nights.
Seasonally. There's like different semesters, if you will, of that.
But it helps hurting people in our community, and it's a great ministry to our community. And
I would say the majority of the people that end up coming to that are not necessarily members of the church.
No, they're not.
And he'll have anywhere from 25 to 35 people every time they do it.
And so that's an area where, again, do you maybe you have an empathetic, sympathetic heart. Maybe you've experienced grief and been able to recover. But that's an area where there's a need there to be able to meet those needs. And again, that will be highlighted through the ministry fair too. So,
yeah. And going from there, like we don't stop ministry when kids graduate from high school. We have a college ministry too, and Ben does a great job leading that. So there'll be a table there to see how you can get involved. And then our big event coming up here in a few weeks, VBS, there'll be a table for VBS with that. And if I could circle back to my table, missions, talk about that for a minute. I've, in the several months since I've been here, I've heard some people come and approach me and ask, like, questions about our missions partners and ministry partner mission trips that we do. So I'm excited to share, and I do when people ask me, but I'm excited to share with a bigger group, hopefully, that like all the missions partnerships that we have from Cincinnati to Guatemala to India, and with IMB, like I was in the IMB for a few years, so I know a lot about that. So I'm excited to share like how the gospel is going forward throughout the whole world and in our country as well.
Yeah, and even there are some of these areas that there's a blend and a mix on how they support each other. I think about missions partnership and Sunday school. We have a missions partnership with Montgomery Village Baptist Association. We do a feeding there once a month, and we try to do that through our Sunday school classes.
Yes.
But not everybody sees that or knows that. Not all of our adult Sunday school classes have been a part of that, although I think they could be.
Yeah.
Like that, there is a way for you for your class to take on and to be a part of that partnership also.
It would tend to be, and I don't want to, I did this a lot before you got here, and so I think you may agree with this. The past precedent that has been set is mostly the senior adult classes that are retired and they feel as though they have the time to do it, and they do. Those are the ones that step to the plate. But we have a lot of co-ed classes of working adults, and they immediately dismiss it as, well, we can't do that because it happens at 10 o'clock on a Thursday.
Right.
Well, the truth is, if you would just agree to say, hey, we're going to foot the bill to provide the catering,
Right. Exactly.
we can provide the heavy lifting of the volunteers to go. But just to get your class together and say, hey, this is what we want to provide. This is the food we want to provide. We're going to arrange it. If you can get somebody to pick it up and take it and do it, we can do that.
Yeah.
That is available. And I would dare say that there's probably, even in those classes of the 20s to 50 somethings, there's probably a person or two that could squirrel away and get off. I'm
gonna ask this on the fly. You may not have. If a class wanted to fund a Montgomery Village meal, about how much money do you need to be able to do that? I know that's off the fly, and I didn't give you any time to think.
Yeah.
Depending on what you go with, you're probably looking between $250 and $350.
Okay, so I'm gonna say $300.
Feeding 25 people.
So if a Sunday school class, if they did one a year, they would need to take up $5 a week out of their class to be able to fund that meal. Like it just.
Yeah, it's fractional.
It's fractional. Like it sounds big. It sounds like it's a lot, but literally a class that had 5 members. I mean, you're literally looking for $1 a week for the year to be able to fund your class getting to partner with that to be able to do that.
There's only 12 of them.
Yeah,
so.
right. And we only need 12. I mean, like you wouldn't, if we got everybody involved, you would only be doing it about every year and a half to 2 years.
Right.
Because if all of we have over 20 adult Sunday school classes now that are active. And if we could get all of them involved, then, I mean, it really is, it's just, it's very fractional.
Yeah.
We just.
No excuses.
There really aren't. I mean, I hate to say it. There really aren't. And it's a way to be able to, again, tie your Sunday school class to the missions work and the mission vision inside the life of our church with our partners, with our people in these places doing these things. And there's all kinds of other needs that are out there. We hit on missions, and I hope you'll have a sign-up sheet for Serve Seymour.
Yes.
Serve Seymour is kind of our stay-at-home mission day. That we encourage everybody to kind of take some time off of work and come and be a part. We serve our schools, we serve our community, we work with our partners and all that in Serve Seymour. We want you to understand that there's a place for you to be able to work in missions, even if it's not going to Guatemala or to India or any of those types of places.
Yeah. Let's kind of date, time, place. What can people expect on the ministry fair? How's that going to work?
Yeah, ministry fair is right after second service, so about 11:45 on May 17th, down in the activity center, not the gym, the activity center, which is the gym.
We're working on that.
Yeah, we are.
Tech terminology.
Just come down after, if you're in Sunday school that hour, just come down after your Sunday school class. Come down after service if you're in service. and just come and see what ministries we have, where you can get involved. Maybe thinking about where you're gifted, or even if you feel like the Lord wants you to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and grow in different areas, get involved with that. We'll have some light refreshments, so if you're worried about getting to lunch late, you'll be okay to last a little bit. But yeah, we'll just have tables set up throughout the whole area, and you can go from table to table and just ask the leaders questions. There'll be a leader at each table to be there to answer your questions. There'll be sign-up sheets to sign up for different things. And yeah, we'll go from there.
Yeah. And I'd say, again, there's different levels on, not levels. I always hate using that word, but there's different places where you could be as we're approaching all this. You could already be committed and you know where your area of service is. Then what I want to encourage you is to come and be a part of it. Maybe talk about it amongst your friends or your areas where you sit on Sunday morning, and encourage others to come downstairs and to be a part of it. Help them to see what that looks like. Come down and be around, maybe be around the tables where you serve.
Be a recruiter.
Yeah, because sometimes people are trying to figure out, they want to be a part of something, but it would help them if they had a connector person. They had someone that they already knew, and you being around the table may help them to realize, hey, they are already a part of that. Maybe I could be a part of it with them or whatever else. Come and be a part. There's all kinds of places, but what I want to encourage you is come through the activity center that day. Spend some time, come down there, be a part of it, be prayerful, look for there is something that we just went through. There's something on this list that you can be a part of. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's areas where you can't. You've got physical limitations or time limitations or whatever, but I can guarantee there's something that you can be a part of. And beyond that, I would say there is in your life something that is missing if you are not a part of being involved in the service inside the life of Seymour First Baptist.
Yeah. I go back to that. I mentioned it a couple podcasts ago, but just the conversation I had in my office a couple weeks ago from a lady in her 80s who just was in it to win it, man. I mean, she was invited to come to this church years ago, and she came and she appreciated it and she liked it. And then she soon learned that just coming and filling a pew on a Sunday was not enough. And she was convicted that she needed to get with it. And so she figured out that working the merge meal was something that she enjoyed. She was good at it. And despite the fact that she's on a cane, that she can't get around very well, she is here every single Wednesday, her smiling and filling plates. And that just, it's so humbling. I mean, I talk to people like that, and just in the conversation that we just had about just, simply providing a couple of bucks to do a meal for our partner, you don't have an excuse. I mean, we've had these conversations about, being in student and children's ministry all those years. People think that they retire from children's ministry. Yeah. No, you don't. Yeah. You don't age out of serving in the church. Right. There is something, and to echo what Pastor Korey said, there is something on this list that you can do and should be doing, especially if you're not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of other ministries in the church that aren't going to be represented here, and so we're not diminishing any of those. If you're leading one of those areas and you want to be a part of the ministry fair, you can be. All right, just reach out to Korey. Mm-hmm. He would love to plug you in and add another table for that or whatever else. But those are all there. So.
Yeah, and I would just say, hear our heart that this isn't us just saying, hey, we need help. We need to fill these spots. This comes down to the fact that, we believe very strongly that God has called all of us to serve until he's done with us.
Right. It's not a question of our need, it's a question of their obedience.
It is. And on top of that, we also, I think of it from the standpoint that, I've had the blessing of being in kids and students for 21 years. And man, the stories and the things and even the people that I've seen work in those ministries and the blessings that I've seen them, like, I want that for you. I want that. Whether it's in kids or whether it's an AV or whether it's an MVP or, who knows where it is. I want all believers, we want all believers to have the blessing of serving our Lord and Savior until the day that he calls us home.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. That's the heart of this. That's the goal, is to say, hey, we know that there are people that are not involved and they may not know how to get involved. And we want to try and break down the barriers of what is preventing you from receiving the blessing that God has for you and pouring into the life of the body of Christ.
Yeah.
There you have it. Yep. All right. Korey, thank you for sitting in and bringing your expertise to the table here. And we look forward to seeing everybody on May 17th at the ministry fair here at Seymour First Baptist Church. And so with that, let's say bye, fellas.
See ya.
Hey, listen.
Thank you for listening to Seymour from the Front Pew. Our sole desire for this podcast is to glorify God by educating and encouraging his body. If you would like to learn more about anything you've heard today, feel free to reach out by email at staff@seymourfbc.org or by visiting our website at seymourfbc.org. If you're located near our community and do not have a church home, come worship with us at 10:15 a.m. on Sunday morning. Until then, we pray God's richest blessings on you and yours as you love God, love others, make disciples, and live the life.